Hello everyone, welcome to Green One Day at a Time. Today we are going to see how to sow brassica seeds and how to take care of them as seedlings. These are cauliflower all year round seeds. Cauliflower, calabrese, which otherwise known as broccoli, komastuna red, kale, Brussels sprouts, all of them, Chinese cabbage, all of these belong to the family called Brassica, or what we call as cruciferous vegetables. The seeds all look exactly the same. So it's always better to have clear labeled seeds in packets, otherwise they will all get mixed up, even the plants. So this is a Chinese cabbage. The Chinese cabbage is a longer cabbage, very good for soups and stir fries. You can see the Chinese cabbage seeds in my palm are exactly the same as the cauliflower or the calabrese seeds that I just showed. So the plants also look exactly the same. So it's always better to have them clearly labeled. Since the seeds are so small or tiny, when you sow the seeds, it's always better to not cover them with more compost. Once you sow the seeds, see that's very small, you can either cover them with perlite or just leave them on the surface of the compost. Make sure they are well watered. So once they are sprouted, so these plants, you can see the Chinese cabbage I've sown 5 days ago, and they are just starting to sprout, and you can see some of the seeds on the soil, but some are still sprouting. They need a lot of sunlight to start to germinate. Therefore, do not cover them with more compost. This is calabrese or broccoli, and that is cauliflower seeds, all sown on 17th of February. And these are almost 2 weeks old, and you can see the growth difference. When cruciferous vegetables are at that stage, you have to transplant them to bigger ones. This one is much more elongated, or they have grown more taller. It's not really ideal to wait at this stage. So I filled a bigger tray, modular tray with compost, fresh compost, and I have pre-moistened the compost before I start to transplant the seedlings. So one seedling per module. Why we transplant them at such an early stage is because cruciferous vegetables have very long roots, and we do not want them to tangle the roots with the other seedlings, and when you try to transplant it, the roots will break and it will hurt the plant. It's unlikely that it will recover back. For a crucifer vegetables, you can bury them very deep. See, I'm planting them till the leaf. You can do that, and that's always better because they have to stand up tall, holding quite heavy weight when they are in with full produce. So it's always better to plant them very deep. So take the seedlings, holding the leaf very carefully, teasing the root out of the compost. Never hold them by the stem, always hold them by the leaf. You can see this particular one has a very good root structure, and if we waited any longer, it would get tangled with the other seedlings, and when we try to pull them out, they would get damaged. So it's always better to dig a deep hole and plant them very carefully, deep till the first leaf. And that way the plant will be quite sturdy. Another reason to transplant them at such an early stage is because cruciferous vegetables are very hungry plants, and transplanting them at this stage to new fresh compost will give them more nutrients to grow faster and stronger. This will also help them to stand up against the cabbage white butterfly, the main pest for all cruciferous or all brassica family plants. Most of these butterflies aren't active at early springtime. So when we transplant them to the ground in around 5 weeks time, the plants would be quite healthy and big, and the butterflies won't be that interested in such fully grown plants. So that's the broccoli done. Now let's try and do cauliflower. Now with cauliflower, the plants have or the seedlings have become a little bit leggier than the broccoli plants. Even then, always try to bury them as deep as possible. So I'm going to dig a bigger hole and then try to bury them as deep as their first leaf. There's the last one going in. All that's left is to put them in the greenhouse or a warm place, windowsill, wait for them to become big enough, and then transplant them outside. I have kept them in my outdoor greenhouse, and because it's going to be colder in the nights, I'm going to cover them with a fleece or a bubble wrap just to keep them warm from the frost that might settle on the polytunnel. I'll try and update what's going on with these plants as and when each stages arrive. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay safe and see you soon with another one.